What is going on, guys? Welcome to Radigan's Rockcast. We are live, and let me just make sure that this the light is a little bit better and all that. This is really low, really dim, really dim, 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 dimmy, dimmy, dim, dimmy, dimmy, dim, dim, dim. All right, let's get into this right now. Okay, it's a little bit bright. Let's try this. This is going to be going live on my podcast too. So wow, people are going to see this aspect of me too. This is our bonus show and all that, in a sense that I like to call it. It's a live episode and the first episode of 2022, as you see me struggling right here. Let's see. Let's just we'll go right at. We'll go right at. Little dark and dim, but let's okay. All right, cool. All right, here we go. Okay, so welcome, guys, to Radigan's Rockcast, a live episode. And this episode, we are talking about two artists that are up for a Grammy nomination this year. You know how I say that in my intro, you know how it is in the intro, as my announcer Tim Turner says it, even current. We talk about even current stuff. We don't just talk about the 50s. We don't just talk about the 60s. We don't talk about the 70s or the 80s. We talk about current stuff as well. And for this current video, we are going to be talking about Olivia Rodrigo and H.E.R. And they are up for Grammy nominations this year, but also too, they have two albums that they released. So we have two. They have two albums that we have to talk about and all that, and that is Sour from Olivia Rodrigo and Back of My Mind from H.E.R. So I really I really found out who Olivia Rodrigo this year the same way everybody else probably found out about her. When she went to meet with President Biden for the vaccine, and with Dr. Anthony Fauci, and then I found out about her songs like "Good for You," "Jealousy." And I thought, wow, this girl is 17 years old, and wow, she actually has a solid album. Because nowadays, honestly, there's not as many albums anymore, like real albums. There really isn't. And I kind of feel that it's just a collection of songs. And yet this album that Olivia Rodrigo was able to create was an album that was definitely a concept album of jealousy, of bedroom pop, they're calling it, of just what a young girl feels like at that age, and with rebellion and stuff. People compare her to Alanis Morissette, Avril Lavigne, and all that. And you know what? It works pretty well. It really does. It works. This song works really well. I mean, like, Good for You, Jealousy, Brutal. And yeah, and now we'll talk a little bit about Her's album, which is Back of My Mind. And Back of My Mind, the thing about her is she's an interesting R&B artist, and I've got a chance to know about her from my friends and all that. And I saw a little bit of what she did with Keith Urban at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that. So, like, with her playing the guitar and all that, so she definitely seems like different than other female artists. Like playing with a guitar, she's not just like a rapper or a singer, and she's not really a rapper. She's just really a singer, really, like an R&B singer. And I think she's definitely got a good voice and all that. And this album, I will say though, is a little bit different than the Olivia Rodrigo Sour album, because it's a debut album, but she's done stuff before, like EPs and all that. But the problem, and she's released a compilation album with songs, but the problem is this album does not feel like a studio album. It feels like just a compilation album. It doesn't feel new or anything or really exciting. But not to say that there aren't great stuff on this album. There are actually some great, excellent tunes on this album. And the funniest thing too is it's not the single tracks that I'm into. I mean, the song that she has, Damage and Slide, are okay, but like a song like We Made It is a little mellow for me and all that. And maybe that's what she goes for, maybe that's her vibe, but I just feel that's a little too mellow for my taste and all that. I do like, however, when a great song on that album, a great, great, great goddamn song, and that is Bloody Waters. And it's got that Marvin Gaye "What's Going On" feeling to it. Like, oh my God. It's just really, yeah, like similar to Inner City Blues. And it's just wow, 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 wow. And like the melody, the rhythm of the music, like, oh my god, it's just great. It really is just fantastic. Oh my, and I hear it and I love it. I think it's great. And, and another song I love on it is Cheat Code. Cheat Code is also really good. And they really those both songs, those show her voice and all that. And I mean, some songs like Slide, I mean, that song sounds like a song that like people would smoke weed to in some ways, because it's just like the way, it's got such a good energy to it, even with the raps and all that too. And but here's my problem with the album. When you have a song like Bloody Waters and Cheat Code with other songs like Slide or Damage, like, because there's a lot of collaborations with other artists on this album, yet there are some songs that she does alone, and I think the songs she does alone are better. She doesn't need to collaborate with people on this album. I think it's like this album gives such a mixed message. It's like it's not clear, what the album is. It just sounds like a mix of songs, and that's the issues with albums these days and all that. They're not as much concept. Which is why I was surprised when I saw Olivia Rodrigo Sour. This is a girl who's 5 years younger than me, and could be into the whole TikTok trends and just following the new stuff that Cardi B does, but no, she goes on a different track. She listens to people like Alanis Morissette, Avril Lavigne. She's definitely got that old soul vibe. Her mother apparently is a huge '80s fan of groups like Motorhead and all that, and like you could tell that those vibes and those influences are in her songs, especially when you have a song like Brutal, which definitely, okay, there is controversy because people think she ripped that off from Elvis Costello. Elvis Costello even admitted that, like, he doesn't like, because he doesn't have a writing credit on it, and he doesn't really feel like So She got the vibe from the song Pump It Up. He got his structure from Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues. He says you take what you like from you take what you like from a thrill and you make your own thing out of it. And I think that's the real way to deal with stuff. I think it really is. And I think that's what really music is about, in that sense. I think that's really what it is. Uh and so yeah. And I mean, I think too, like how she curses in her songs, that was sort of like Alanis Morissette's thing with Jagged Little Pill, with You Ought to Know and all that. I just like very much of, I mean, it's a little bit more of a different vibe with this because I don't see, because I feel like Alanis Morissette went a little bit too, I wouldn't say violent, but more of just like into a more of a raw, like, F, where there is some of that too, but it feels more of just how a young person is just trying to deal with, their first breakup, their first, getting their driver's license, just, figuring out all these things while coming of age. Because being a teenager, and I've had that experience too, being a teenager at times can suck because you have different emotions coming at you and you can have people telling you how to feel in certain ways. And I just think this album brings a great, homage to all of these things, all of the things we have problems with. Like, for instance, the line in Brutal, I'm so sick of 17, where's my fucking teenage dream? It's like we're at this age that we dream of when we're young, when we're, in sixth grade, even younger and all that. And once we get to that age or that place, we realize it's not all what it's cracked out to be. And I think it's, this album is, finding out about life, and, she talks about how she went through breakup with, her first love and all that. And, there are songs that are about that. And she takes, certain experiences. Like she talks about driver's license, had a lot of personal experience with her and all that. And, no, I think the thing about that too is that when it comes to, these songs and all that, when you have your own emotions that have happened before from, like personal experience, it really can help thrive with your music. And that's what I feel too. Uh, and all that sense. And but also too, I feel that with her songs as well, for instance, like, it's sort of similar to Maroon 5's first album, Songs About Jane, but the difference was I don't know if every song has a reference to her boyfriend and all that sense on it. But Adam Levine said every song had a reference to his ex. And I think it's like, going through heartbreak and all that can is a therapeutic way. Like, writing music is a very therapeutic way to deal with your emotions. I mean, I've known that even being, a script writer in all that sense, writing scripts and writing these screenplays or writing even treatments to stuff, they're therapeutic of, stuff that's going on in your life. It's something that can help you and make you feel happy. And, I think that's what this music does too, in a sense. It really has a way to express your emotions in a healthy way, it's better than, just having a fit and throwing things, and I think that's what this album shows too, and yeah, and and the thing to think about it is that she made this during the beginning and the height of lockdown, and of just how crazy lockdown was already, but how she was able to make this at home and all that. I think is also incredible and all that. She was around for a few years because she's on the High School Musical series, and she was on a Disney show called Bizarre Varks with Jake Paul, who of course I believe is one of the biggest assholes. But okay, that's a different thing. But what you call it? Yeah, no. But I think like really honestly, if you think about it, uh, this album is very simple for people. It's like, I believe it's 11 songs, and it kind of rolls off the tongue very quickly, in all that sense. And the problem with Her's album is that it feels long at times and dragged out. Like, I like songs on this album, but I just feel like the whole album in itself just feels like a mix of songs. Like, it didn't seem any different what she was doing before, with the compilation and all that. And I just feel this album really, is another compilation. But I do think Her is a great performer, and I think she has some great music and has an interesting voice that I think we'll definitely see more of and all that. And I love, some of her songs, and I think that I'm happy to see what she does in the future and all that. Same with Olivia Rodrigo. So, yeah, I was debating how I would do this, talking about it, of like, comparing the albums, like, which is better and all that. But I feel that, why compare, apples and oranges and all that sense, why do we do that? Why would we, just do both and all that? I kind of feel in that sense, like, because they're two different albums. So why do we need to discuss that, I think in a way of that they're both different albums, they both have different styles, and it'll be interesting to see how the Grammys rates them and all that, and who actually wins. But if you had to ask me for what I think is the better album, in all senses, it would have to be or the album that I connected with the most was probably Olivia Rodrigo Sour, because you know I feel like we've all been there in all that sense of, it's like, being a 23-year-old, understanding, something from a 17-year-old's perspective is something that I remember, at my age, of how I felt at 17. I felt, at times, I think you have a different mood and just feel moody at times of how life is. And I think this album expresses that. And even like, the album work on that too, of having like, her face having like, sour emotions, because the album is like sour, it's like a mix of emotions. And I think like, the cover works well for a 2021 and all that, and what to expect in the early 20s, like the early 2020s. And I think, definitely one of the best albums I've heard during the pandemic age, as I'll call it. But yeah, no, so that's it for today's stream. Thank you for watching, and also too, little plugins for what's to expect next. There will be another bonus live stream podcast tonight with my DJ Mega Aim 17. We are back, and we are going to be talking about probably, Olivia Rodrigo, her, and later music, because, the Grammys are coming up soon. We don't know when they postponed the date, but, we're just want to be talking about that stuff of what to expect in the early 2020s of music. And I think you would really like to, if you're interested in knowing that, I think you would like to join in, because me and Anthony have some interesting discussions and we disagree at sometimes on camera, and you might actually see that. You might see us having a slap fight. So if you want to see me and Anthony have a slap fight, come on right now. Not right now because you're on my stream right now, but come in at whatever I say on Twitter, which will probably be 8 or 9, whatever. Just come in whenever and all that. And yeah, no. And also too, tomorrow I have my Maroon 5 album series that will be coming out tomorrow. Now my hair was a little longer in that. That's why, because it was filmed in 2021 at the end around Christmas time and all that. So yeah, if that's why my hair looks longer there, then yeah. Then that's why. They'll be coming out from January 21st to January 28th, and that'll be all the episodes, which will be 8, which will be talking about their albums and all that sense, and even talking about a live album. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And also, too, I will have other 2 episodes coming out. We'll also be talking about eventually John Mayer and Rob Thomas and all that. I'm kind of going through a 2000s kick right now, and so my audience is about to see that right now too, with whatever audience I have. But yeah, no. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. And don't also forget to check this out on Amazon, Spotify, wherever that is, and wherever you listen. I will be glad you're on, like I always say in the intro. So have a good day, and see you guys very, very soon. Bye.